Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. As you can see, I am Daniel Madison. I'm here with Adam Wilber. So yesterday Adam posted a quick video announcing that he's going to do what's usually called an AMA, Ask Me Anything. This is AAA, and it's not the usual AAA, it's Ask Adam.
No roadside assistance here.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. So I'm going to go by all the questions that went on your social feeds. So I've got them open right now online, and because there was so many questions, no chit chat, I'm going to get straight to them.
Let's do it.
And we're going to start from the top, work our way down. I'm sure there's going to be some repeated questions, but we'll deal with that when we see them. So the first question is from dk.magic, and he wants to know, what do you do when you need inspiration to create something new? What inspires you?
Yeah, that comes from a lot of different places. Sometimes it's out of necessity, needing something for my own use in gigs, or solving a problem that I need to get to. Like, for instance, the solved thing came because I wanted to do something with a mini Rubik's Cube. So I bought a bunch of them and I stared at them for months until something came. And actually, what solved was nowhere near what it was supposed to be. That came by accident. I was playing with a different idea where essentially it was a vanishing mini Rubik's Cube. And in doing that, it turned into, I made a mistake and went, wait, this makes this kind of gimmick, which is really cool. So I look for it anywhere. If I'm sitting down trying to force myself to create, like for an Instagram video, I'll do a lot of different things. Like, for instance, I saw, one second, I'll show you.
I guess it's good to be open-minded when you're approaching creativity rather than just thinking, I must achieve this.
Yeah, I hate
start with a small idea.
I don't like, it's always harder for me to say, this is what I want to have happen, because then I had a vanishing iPhone and I knew I wanted to make a vanishing iPhone. That ended up being one of the hardest things to come up with I've ever done, because the end goal was that I want this to be, not I want to trick with an iPhone. Because then that opens it up to, it can float, it can vanish, it can shrink, it can grow. I wanted it specifically to wipe my hand and have it disappear. So those are always the hardest things, but I think if I find an item that's interesting to me, and then I just play with it until something comes of it. That's usually how I get inspired to create. So I found this thing, for example, at a grocery store. This is legitimately one solid Snicker. So this is all a Snicker. So seeing something like that is like, there's magic in there somewhere. So it's been in my office for a week and I don't know what to do with it, but I'll stare at it and at some point I'll go, I could do that with this, right? So to get inspired to create, I'm just basically keeping an open mind and looking at objects, and anything you see is like, oh, there's magic in there. So I think that answered the question.
Yeah, and if you don't think of anything, you could just eat that.
Yeah, you know what's funny is God, I looked at the yeah. You could eat this and probably get rushed to the hospital right after.
Yeah. Okay, so next question is from FKA Plun. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he says, what effect from the Working Man project do you use the most and why?
That's a good question. Hold on, let me grab it. The one I use the most out of Working Man is probably either business-minded or the triple cuts effect. Triple cuts is nice because it's a deck, anytime, anywhere, and you get 3 spectators involved. Business-minded is nice because I always love, I know people think it's cliche to hand out your business card with a card trick, but it works for me. So between those two.
Yeah, I think I understand like that question, because when you buy a project that's got more than 1 or 2 tricks in it, it's hard, and they're all good. It's hard for them to decide which one's going to work the best for them. Do you know what I mean? So
sure.
I understand that. Okay, next question from Los Angeles, our friend Jeremy Griffith.
Jeremy.
And he wants to know, what's the one resource that has had the largest effect on how you think about magic? book, video, lecture, any insight?
The one resource that has the most impact on how I think about magic, that's sort of growing. I mean, it's never ending. I just got a new book that is literally changing my thoughts on magic completely. This is absolutely brilliant. Anyone who's trying to design their own magic or even take magic that's out there and make it feel right to them, this is gold. So this book at the current moment, and then probably I would say as far as influences on the kind of magic I like to emulate would be like the guys I idolize, Bill Malone, David Williamson, those watching their content, listening to the way they think about creating tricks, I would say is probably my answer for that.
That's cool. Okay. This is a strange question, kind of pointless as well. Caleb's magic. If you could only do one trick for the rest of your life, what would it be? I'm not sure if it'd be worth doing magic if you can only do one thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I guess that's asking what's my favorite trick to do. Probably a few backup plan. I do all the time. I love that effect. I'll just say that the backup plan. It's a card effect with multiple phases and a kicker ending.
Yeah. One of your favorites, one of your go-tos.
Yeah.
One that I've seen you perform to people time and time again.
Yeah, I love it. It's never steered me wrong, and for me now, I can do it with my eyes shut. So that's my answer for that.
Yeah, it's good to have those kind of tricks as well. Next question is from Geraint Clark. I think that's how you say his name.
I think it's G. Reint.
I think it might be Jerry Eint. I don't know. Let's just call him G Clark. And he wants to know, he says, love. Tell me what it's like, Ron. I want to know more than anything in the world.
I can't.
A serious question as usual.
Yeah, my answer to that is get back to work, G.
Yeah, stop messing around. So there's a foreign question. I'm not even going to attempt it. Spanish question. So I'm going to go to Adam Grange. Oh no, we just answered that question. Expert at the bar wants to know, do you think there will be more opportunity for magicians to work within the social media world? And if so, what is the best way for magicians to get recognized by a major magic company? I think he's kind of asking that question that that we hear a lot. People want to know how you work for a company like Ellusionist and how you get tricks out with us. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, as far as social media, it's for me, it's actually how I started with Ellusionist. We used to run a thing called Gold Wednesdays, which was a competition every Wednesday where you would submit a video, it would get judged, you would win a free deck. And I won 2 or 3 of those in a row, which got me noticed by Team E at the time being. And that got in my foot in the door to forum manager and sort of worked my way up. So in a 2-part answer, yes, social media I think is very good for magicians. I think it's a very good platform for us to showcase certain magic. Obviously, magic is supposed to be experienced and not just watched through a screen. So you're not going to get the connection and the emotional engagement you would if you're in front of them talking to them. But it is a great platform to show in a short amount of time visual stunning moments, which will get you noticed. So to get noticed by a magic company, good content. That's all content is king. If you send any company a good video of a trick that is a fooling commercial piece of magic, you're going to get noticed. So the best thing to do is to create visual commercial magic and then send it to companies, and that's how you'll get noticed by them.
I think that's why Instagram's been so popular for magicians, because it's nothing but a visual platform, and it's a place to showcase just visuals of what you can do, and that's perfect for magicians. It's
also very easy to show gratification, so it's very simple to say I liked that, sort of like Facebook likes, but it's a nice way to get noticed, because it's inherently a visual platform. So I also love the challenge. You have 15 seconds. So you're basically taking whatever effect you're trying to do and shrinking it into 15 seconds, which forces you to come up with visual fast visual magic, which I think is challenging. I think there's some problems in there too with it, but I enjoy doing it as a journal for me. I like putting things up there as ideas, getting feedback, and is it the things I do in the real world? Of course not. You don't get to perform in the real world to a little screen and ditch things off camera and whatnot, but I think it's a great platform for magicians. I think Facebook is too. I mean, look at Rick Lax. He's getting legitimately millions of people watching his magic from posting videos on Facebook. That's it. I mean, you can't pay for that kind of marketing. So if used properly, it's a ridiculous tool with huge benefits.
Couldn't agree more. Okay. So I've skipped a few questions because some of them are a little bit too similar. Preston J asks, have you ever thought about releasing your own deck of playing cards?
Interesting questions.
Yeah.
I'm not a designer. I've played around with some designs before. There are certain things I would like to see in playing cards that aren't. So I think if I ever did design a deck, it wouldn't be like you would think. It wouldn't be like look at how cool and artistic this deck is, but I'll leave it at that for now.
So Seagor25, I think that's how you pronounce it, asks, how easy is solved to perform? I think that's a relevant question.
It is extremely easy. The gimmick does all the work for you. There's one sleight of hand move. I think most people who watch the trailer are pretty savvy to understand what that move would be. But if you've done a magic trick in front of somebody comfortably, you can do solved. It's very, very simple. So I don't know how else to answer it. It's extremely easy.
Okay, so guys asking what kind of music do you like? I find that like a very relevant question because you find people who are creative and like to create a lot are very into music. I am, but I don't tend to share what kind of music I listen to. But I'm interested in your answer to that.
I legitimately love. I think music and magic are the only two. You call it an art form or not, whatever. I think it's an art form, so I think they're the only two art forms personally that can actually give me goosebumps and that chill moment. Like hearing that song for the first time or a really good performance of a song, you can get goosebumps. But then you can hear someone else do the song and it murders it. It's the same with a magic trick. I've seen magicians do classic magic tricks that I've got goosebumps over. So to me, the two are very, very similar. And as far as the kind I listen to, I legitimately listen to everything. This morning I was blasting country music. This afternoon I was listening to Machine Gun Kelly, which is the exact opposite. There's not much music I don't like. So right now, the last song I was listening to was a remix of Adele's Hello song. So, it literally is the two far ends of the spectrum. I listen to everything. If it sounds good and I feel, it strikes me at the moment, that's what I listen to.
So yeah, you don't limit yourself to a certain genre or category of music.
No.
I think there's something important in the answer to, the creative people. You don't tie yourself down to a single idea. Okay, the Conjure wants to know if the value of magic depends on its secrecy, and so many people are exposing it on YouTube and on TV. What do you think the future of magic will be like? Do you think magic has a future? If it's been exposed, do you think exposure damages magic?
No, not at all. I don't. I think it sucks, and I think it sucks for the people who create and get ripped off, so they don't get to be monetarily reimbursed for their creations. I think stealing magic and giving it away is the wrong thing to do. But do I think it hurts magic? Absolutely not. I think if you look at the top pros in the world, they perform tricks you could find 100 years ago at your local library. I mean, that might be exaggerating, but I don't think it's the magic. I don't think the exposure of magic means anything. I think the performer who's doing it is what makes the difference. I've seen performers do, the biddle trick or a hot rod, but do it so well that even if you know the effect, it's entertaining and it's fun to watch. And just like a good piece of music, it takes you away from. To me, entertainment is something that purposefully takes you away from your day-to-day. And it doesn't matter what trick you're doing or if the person knows how you're doing it. If they know how you're doing it and you entertain them, that's all they'll remember, that this guy was entertaining with a trick I know the method to. So I don't think exposure sucks and you know, whatever. It's not the right thing to do, but I don't think it hurts magic, because even if there wasn't YouTube exposure everywhere, the person who really wants to know how something's done will go find out. I mean, that's where I got really heavy into magic. I saw some things and I needed to know how it was done. So I went to the bookstore and I figured out how to find them out. So I think it's more the performer and what you're giving to the audience as opposed to if they know the trick or not.
Great answer. And you also just started answering what I was going to ask next, which quite a lot of people have asked you, especially on the Instagram feed. How did you start your career in magic? What got you into it? I know it's like an obvious question, but so many people want to know, so I think it's worth me asking you.
The bug got me when I was 6. My friend did the silk in the fist, or 6 or 8, and I went, cool, roll your sleeve up now. Smugly looked at me and rolled his sleeves up and did it again. Fried. It killed me. I'm like, no, I know who you are and you're not a wizard, so how the hell are you doing this? And he wouldn't tell me. He refused. So I went to the bookstore and I got the Klutz Book of Magic. It's the first book. And it had a little black plastic baggie with the secret gimmick in it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't see what it is. I didn't know what it was, and I bought it and I learned it. And I fooled my dad, and I was like 6 or 8 years old, and I fooled my dad, and genuinely fooled him. I saw him go, do it again, and I was hooked. That was it. And then I remember the first show I got paid was a birthday show, and I got $20 and a piece of the birthday cake. And right then I was like, wow, like people are paying me, clapping for me. They actually want to see what I'm doing, this magic stuff. And that was it. That was sort of the hook, line, and sinker. So that's the start of it. And then really working professionally full-time for a living was when I lived in New Orleans. I worked at a shop called Magic Masters. I didn't have a career path. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I found a magic shop. And because of the situation of where I was, it was in a trade show center. So all these business people were coming in, seeing this magic shop, assuming it was where you hired magicians. So I was basically I was just handed clients every day I went to work. And it was awesome. It forced me to become, I don't want to say I'm good, but it forced me to get my chops to where they could be. And that was when I really realized there's money to be made as a performing magician if you do it correctly. So that was right before Katrina. It was about 3 years before Hurricane Katrina. So that would have been the start of my actual taking it serious as a professional.
How did you get to Ellusionist? What happened with that?
Yeah, I did these Gold Wednesday things. I won a few of them in a row, and then I submitted a trick, earbuds, to a contest they ran, and I didn't get first, second, or third place, and I was pissed because it's a good trick, and no one had seen it yet. And then they called after and was like, "Hey, we're sorry you didn't win, but we do want to put the trick out." And then I started talking to Jason Brumbelow, becoming friends with him, got a job as the forum director. Jason Brumbelow went on to do his own thing, and I then got a job as a project manager and then worked my way up. So that's sort of the start of it. It was just posting on their Facebook and forcing them to notice me, basically.
Yeah, so they paid attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I think there's a lot in that for people. Okay, so I'm reading a lot of the same questions. So I can't pronounce his names. Hakur 4493488 says, "What's the favorite trick that Daniel Madison has released?" I don't know that. Forget that guy.
I read that question. My favorite Daniel Madison release. It's tough. That's actually a very tough one. I'll let you know as soon as he puts something worthwhile out, I guess.
Great answer.
My all-time favorite, and this is cliche because I'm sure it's everybody's, Anglesey. It's one of the most brilliant card tricks I think was created. You can put it into basically applications for anything. It's easy to do. It's visual. It's so bold that the first couple times you try it, you're scared to death, and then you get away with it, and it's just a brilliant piece of magic. So I would say Anglesey for sure.
And I'm very
Advocate's clever as hell. I've just never used it. I think it's really smart. I just haven't used it. But Anglesey's the one I would say is my favorite.
Me too, thank you, Adam.
Don't tell Madison that because his head's aren't big enough.
Yeah, I won't mention it. Daniel, my Dyson. So Alasdair, I think it's pronounced Alistair Sutherland. What is the difference between the old Pyro and the one coming out soon?
That's a good question. A lot. I don't know how much I can say. It doesn't matter. I can say whatever I want, I guess.
Yeah.
It's smaller, hence Pyro Mini. I don't want to say too much. It's smaller and there's some cooler features built into it. You'll know very shortly, but the main differences are the size, and there are a few other hidden cool factors in there that we put in.
And you can do this cool thing with bread. It's like a piece of bread.
The Pyro Mini allows you to toast bread on the spot.
Yep. Sold. Okay, so the west side. Wow, this guy's big. Do you have any advice for young magicians like me trying to become a true worker?
Yeah, just get out as much as possible. Get in front of as many people as you can and let them know what you do. Let your services be known to everybody and anybody, because we're in an art form. As a business, when you want to perform, it's a non-needed service. So if you're at a wedding, you need a DJ there. That's pretty standard. You need some sort of entertainment. If you're at a cocktail hour, they need a DJ. You know, magician is a bonus that has features to it that people don't realize unless they can see it firsthand. It's very hard to sell your services to somebody as a magician that hasn't seen it or experienced it, because there's always going to be this undertone of a magician. There's not going to be kids at this party. That kind of feel. But if you can get in front of as many people, well, first and foremost, have good material. Be good at what you're doing. Be good talking to people. Be good conversating with people where you're just a normal person. And then get in front of as many people as you can and tell them what you do, show them what you do, and advertise that you do this as a living. That's the best advice I could give you. It's why restaurants are so imperative for people to become successful, because it gets them in front of hundreds of people every night that now know, oh, this guy does this for a living. And you let them know. In my presentations, a lot of time, I make stories up. I was doing this trick last week at a corporate event on stage in front of 500 people. That's complete BS, but it puts in their mind, oh, wow, he does corporate events. Let's check that out. So get in front of people and make them understand what you do and why it's of value to them.
Do you think, you mentioned something there, do you think it's like very important for them to know you first as like a person, or like a lot of people want to become the magician and they want to go out there and say, I'm a magician, watch out, watch me. But I've noticed something that you do that seems to work really well for you. You just go up to them as you, and you don't say, I'm a magician. You just go over and start doing things.
Yeah, because I think you know this too. If you go up and say, hi, I'm a magician, you're now fighting a battle to get them to like you.
Yeah,
and it sounds messed up, but it's true. If you walk up to a stranger and say, hey, I'm a magician, can I show you something? You're so far behind, because now they're like, what? And they have that, whatever magician they've seen or what they know of, that's what you have to fight against. So the best magicians in the world, Danny Garcia is a god at this. He almost does magic without doing magic. I've seen him sit at a table with a group and talk to the guys, for just random strangers at a bar, talk to them for 30 minutes before ever showing them a trick. And by the time he shows them a trick, they're so intrigued by him and his personality and his likability that he could do anything and it would be a good trick. To me, he will be remembered far, far later than somebody who came up and did the perfect any card at any number, because they don't really care about that. You need to make the connection, and the best way to make a connection is to have a conversation with somebody and really connect. So yeah, I love just going up, and when I'm being paid at a gig, I have a few lines I say all the time that are funny, but it states I'm a magician, it states I don't take myself too seriously, and it doesn't allow them to say no thank you. And I think that's important, because a lot of times people don't know what you're about to do when you say you're a magician.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that, show them what you do. You know, let them experience it so they can, you can go hire a magician for $200 an hour anywhere online in any place of the world within a day. So for someone to just say, I need a magician, is a lot different for them to, it's much better if they're saying, I need to hire Adam again. Yeah. And the only way you can get them to say that is if they see you and they know you as a person, instead of group you into a group of, oh, he's a magician. Because you don't want to be a dime a dozen. You want to be the magician, you know, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. So, okay, next question. Scrappy's Coco. It said, will you ever do a tutorial on one of your tricks? And I think the answer is just go to Ellusionist and check out. You're following Adam, obviously, to ask the questions. So just go look into Adam if you're following him. So
there's quite a few tutorials, yeah. Pick the book up. The book has most of my stuff in it.
I think
like as a free tutorial.
I wonder if he's getting it like your Instagram videos. Like he's never going to teach any of those.
I thought about doing something that was like a combination of all my Instagram and just showing behind the scenes how they work, because a lot of them are obviously super impractical, but they look cool on camera, and just showing the thought process behind it. But maybe I'll do that. I don't know. As far as like free tutorials, I've done a few things, and actually when we're done here, we're going to end the video and just have a bit of a jam session on solve and ideas that aren't full routines, but things like that. So I think that answers. Yeah, if you want tutorials of my work, go to Ellusionist, type in Adam Wilber on the search, and that's everything I've done. So. Okay, so
Pabex asks, what do you do if you mess up a trick? How do you cope?
I usually always have a thing of powdered acid in my pocket, and if I screw something up, I grab it and I throw it in their faces, and then I usually take off. So now they can't see anymore, and they usually forget about what I screwed the trick up. That's what works for me. Might not work for you. So.
Yeah, I've tried that a few times. It worked for me quite well.
In general, it's that old saying, they don't know what you're doing. So if you screw up, just the other day, I was doing jumbo B-wave. And when I do a Elmsley to show that they're all face down, and the card was in the wrong position, and it exposed the gimmick terribly. There's not a lot of getting out of that. I mean, they're staring at what they shouldn't be. So I politely looked at them and said, I genuinely messed that trick up. Want to see something even better than this? I put it away and went into the next trick. And they like that because it makes you human. I mean, you screwed up, so what? Who cares? Be a normal person and do something better,
I've seen some of the best magicians alive mess tricks up for other magicians, but then either start the trick again or do something else, and nobody remembers that. No one remembers the one that got messed up. Like the best people in the world mess up sometimes.
I agree.
People don't remember that. They remember the amazement, not the negative stuff.
I mean, some of the best mentalists in the world mess up on purpose. They always miss one thing, and they do it, there's a reason for it. We are human, and we want them to think of us as human. And if you're perfect in everything you do, well, a good way to humanize yourself is to screw up. And if it's an actual screw up, who cares, man? I mean, we're doing tricks, right? We're just showing them tricks. And if you mess it up, you can say, obviously, if you can get out of it, because they don't know what the end is. So who cares? But if you screw up like I did, then you just keep moving on,
I think the answer is this. It's not a big deal. It doesn't matter.
It really isn't.
Yeah. Who cares?
You're going to screw up hundreds of tricks if you do this for a living throughout your life.
That's how you get good.
Yep.
Okay, Josh T. Magician. What are your thoughts on cardistry?
I think it's what it is. I think it's
Do you think it affects magic? Do you think it's kind of a separate art?
I don't think it's magic. I think it enhances magic. I think if you get out there and you do some flourishes in between your card tricks, it establishes you as somebody who's really good with a deck of cards. if that's the character and that's the image you want, is a very skilled card handler. Cardistry is phenomenal for that. If you play it cool and you don't want people to know you're like Leonard Green, if you don't want them knowing that you're great with a deck, then I wouldn't go out there doing cardistry. I do 1 or 2 flourishes, and I do the old gag where I do the flourish and I go, do you know what this is called? And they go, what? And you say, showing off. But I think it's great. I wish I was better at it. I love watching it. Some of the guys that do this stuff out there now are great. It doesn't affect Magic at all. I think it can enhance your Magic, but for the people who say, oh, this isn't Magic, this is garbage, dude, really? Spend your energy somewhere else, man, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Poshak Dua asks, what is your process for identifying a good marketed effect out of so many new coming out every day? And I think maybe he's getting at how do we decide, like as a team, what's good for Ellusionist and what kind of tricks we release? Like what do we look for? I mean,
yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go.
I'll start
answering
that question. We get submitted so many questions. I mean, so many tricks on a daily basis. We do watch every single one of them, and as a team, as a collective, group of creative people, we all sit down together and we watch every single one of them, and some I might like, some everybody else will hate, some everybody else hates, some I like, and it's the same with everybody on the team. Everyone's got their own favorite kind of things, but when we find things that make every one of us on the team go, we got to do something with this, then that's usually how something gets through, I think. Like the whole team has to agree with I don't know, I mean, we've been in those kind of calls 100 times out of like trying to decide whether this submission gets put forward and developed, and it's not always easy, like it's because there's so many good things, and then we put a lot of time and effort into researching these ideas, and a lot of the times it turns out they've been done before, so I guess there's no real answer to that. Like,
for me, if you want to submit something, it's got to visually look good, it's got to be original, and then we have to be realistic about pricing. You know, if we want to sell it and make a profit on it, then there's certain effects we have to say no to because of it. But yeah, we get submissions. If they go for a short filter process, and if they're worthy to show the team, we show the entire team, we vote on it. If it's a yes, then we start pricing it out and seeing if we can make it work.
Okay, I think that answers that. Beckham Nguyen. Oh man, these names. Why do people choose these names? I'm sorry if that's your real name. It's hard to pronounce.
It's like, I didn't choose it.
No, I think like Stutson25. Like, I don't believe his surname is 25. Anyway, Beckham Nguyen says, "Hey Adam, what was it like being on Wizard Wars? How did you get onto TV?"
It was fun. I got a call from them, the producers or someone, and did it. It was fun. It was a good experience. I mean, it's TV magic, so there's a lot of editing that goes on and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but it was fun. All in all, it was a good experience, and I definitely, for anyone who's trying to get more bookings, anytime you're on national TV, that's a win. So all in all positive.
Any more appearances lined up?
Yeah, I'm trying for Penn and Teller Fool Us. I've submitted something which has never been seen before. We'll see. If I can get there when they're filming and get on the show, that would be killer. And if not, oh well.
Sure.
Haven't got on Ellen yet. Still trying. So anyone who knows Ellen or knows someone on Ellen, hook a brother up, get me on the show, and I'll show her something that will blow her mind.
And it'd be great to see you on that too.
It would be awesome. I have so many things in my head already that I would do, but it's not an easy thing to get on there. So, like I said, if anyone out there knows her, or if you want to help a brother out, tag her, send her my videos, say something. Say this guy turns water to wine or whatever it takes. But that's a big bucket list thing of mine, to get on the show and show her some stuff. But, yeah, anytime I can get on TV, I'm going to, because even a 15-second clip of you on TV on your website establishes you as a celebrity. And what I touched on before of they want to hire you, not a magician, that goes a long way in doing that. I want to hire the guy that was on Ellen. I want to hire the guy that was on Discovery. So for me, in my marketing, it works. Some people disagree with that, but that's my thought process.
Okay, an interesting question from Ghost of a Fly. What are some of the tips for transitioning from a move monkey to a worker?
Figuring out a way to take your moves and turn them into entertaining routines is the first step. Because I don't think there's anyone who's going to pay you to sit there and show them how good your moves are, especially because the moves they're good are invisible. So it would basically look like you're sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, it's a problem with. I've had that question. I've answered that question a few times myself, and I don't know. I guess it's there's a much deeper answer than just simply answer it. I don't know. It doesn't matter how the trick's done. It doesn't matter how incredible you might be at sleight of hand.
Yep.
It's all about that.
I mean, being a move monkey is great. It's just how do you make it a business? How do you get paid for it? Well, you get out there, get in front of people, and show them things that they remember, and that's it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I know a ton of move monkeys who can't do a magic gig. They wouldn't survive. They can't do it. They don't know how to approach people. I think there's more to it than sleight of hand. There's tons more. Off topic. Chaztastic14 says, "What's your favorite movie?"
Wow, that's a tough question. Favorite movie of all time? I can give you a top couple. I love Shade, that old magic movie Shade. I fell in love with that. It's not a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's not even really a good movie, but I loved that movie. I don't know why. I just latched on. I love The Prestige. I love comedy stuff, The Interview, those kind of things, but I don't have a favorite movie. I really don't watch that many movies. As you know, D, it's not the easiest thing to take some time away from 2 kids and a wife and a full-time job to watch a movie. So I don't have a favorite. I mean, I love Quentin Tarantino stuff. It's like music. I love Finding Nemo. Can't wait for the new one to come out.
Finding Dory.
Legitimately would go watch that by myself if I had to. So I love everything, man.
Okay, I got to the bottom of the list, and I found a lot of repeat questions, so I think now might be a good place to kind of stop this part of the video, but then we're going to carry on and we're going to start talking about Solved and start
Beautiful.
Having a bit of a jam session. So everybody watching right now, we're going to stop this video. If you purchase Solved, if you purchased it, we're going to send people an email, right? The people who have bought Solved. Is that how we're going to do this with the video?
Yeah, so basically anybody, real quick, I want to touch on, I got 2 questions from G. One is asking, Solved, is it impromptu? No, there's a gimmick involved. Another couple questions people have asked, can the cube be mixed up? So the way the effect works is that you give somebody a mini Rubik's Cube, you have them mix it up. They can't solve it. If they can, you don't let them. They mix it. They've seen that it's mixed. You grab it back, you do the solve, you hand it back solved. So it is not impromptu. There's a gimmick in play, but that's the gist of the effect. And then there's one final question. Let me just see if this is appropriate. Okay, so I don't know who this is from. Oh, this is Taylor Groves. Oh snap, not a robot. Okay, I'm a youngster fresh out of the University of Texas here in Austin, and I've been performing very casually downtown at lounges and bars little under a year now for my own amusement. Live theater and entertainment has always been something I wanted to pursue. Blah, blah, blah. My question to you, sir, is how did you get into the industry and successfully market yourself in a way that is, on paper, productive? I'm not afraid to go hungry to make it happen. I just feel... So again, how do you get more gigs? I mean, there's a lot of advice and things out there to do that, but you need to know business before magic. You've got to be a strong businessman because we are in business. If you're a great magician, but you suck at business, you're going to be a great magician home alone in your room. You need to learn basic marketing and basic business. You have a service, How do you bring your service to the people who want it? How do you show those people what the benefits of your service are? How do you follow up and continue relationships with these people? That will turn you into getting continually booked. So that's the brief answer. So what we're gonna do now is anybody who's bought Solved, Daniel and I are just gonna kind of jam. I have a few ideas and things I've played with that are not on the project, and I'm just gonna go over those, and anyone who's bought it will see that video. You'll get a link emailed to you, and it'll just be a video of ideas to play with and other things you can do with Solved and the gimmicks, and run with them and have fun. But we're gonna cut it now so the people who haven't bought it don't get the exposed gimmick and things like that.
Everybody who's watched and asked questions, thank you very much. Everybody who has purchased Solved, and you're going to see the rest of this video. Thank you, everybody.